What's up, guys? This is Coach Ian of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our team builder for Week 6 of the UPBA, where we are taking on Coach MagicBlades and the Houston Tynamo. I do know Magic from a variety of leagues, including the PCL, SAPL, and UPBA. We have played one time before in PCL, Week 1, where I did 5-0 him. He was bringing a meme team, so I wouldn't say necessarily it was the most fair of matchups. He did almost beat me with his no attacks Mew baton passing, +6 SpDef and +5 defense into a Meloetta, but we did manage to bring that game back with our superior. So Magic is probably going to be out for some blood, and I don't blame him, and I also think that he's probably going to get it. Magic is killing it in this league. He's 4-1, I believe +6 right now, +6 differential, and his Meloetta is 11-0 with the highest kills and the with 0 deaths, so it's also the highest differential Pokemon. Yeah, he's 4-1 +6, leading his conference right now by 1 game over the Jake Stallers and the Cleveland Cavaliers as of this moment, because the Pittsburgh Red Steelers and the Maryland Holuchas haven't played yet to determine if they're going to be tied with them or not. So yeah, Magic is going to be out for some blood. And like I said, I don't blame him. I also think he's built a very solid team. On paper, it doesn't look like the strongest thing ever. But then again, my team on paper looks really powerful, and I haven't used it very well this season. Magic is very well versed in Mew, Sylveon, Meloetta, and Noivern. He knows how to use those Pokemon very, very well, and so I have to be scared of those like all the time. He has those in pretty much every single league, and he uses them all to varying degrees of success. I believe in SAPL, Noivern is one of his top threats, and then in this league, Meloetta is one of his top threats, and then, in my opinion, in PCL, Mew is one of his top threats, so it's sort of a cycle there, but yeah, so let's go over Magic's team real quick. He's got Mew, Sylveon, Meloetta, Donphan, Noivern, Girder, Heatran, Electros, Araquanid, Shaman, and MagicBlades. Mew is his Super Saiyan Z user, Meloetta is an offensive Z user, and Electros is an offensive Z user. Magic is very creative in prep. He's a lot like myself in that way. He likes using things like Assault Vest Flame Charge Heatran. He likes using things like Z Transform, Z Reflect type Mew. Well, those are 2 ideas that he's thrown at me at least. There's potentially infinite Mew sets that you could be running. Well, not infinite, but you get the idea. You can never tell if he's bringing Aria or Pirouette Meloetta, which is why on the speed tiers image there, I have the speed for Pirouette as well, just in case he's bringing that. I did not speed creep for Pirouette Meloetta this week at all, because it pretty much outspeeds my entire team anyways, so that's the idea with that. Yeah, so that's a thing. So let's look at his hazard starters real quick. He has Mew that can set up Stealth Rocks, Donphan that can set up Stealth Rocks, Heatran that can set up Stealth Rocks, and MagicBlades which can set up Toxic Spikes. His hazard removal is Mew with Defog, Donphan with Rapid Spin, and MagicBlades with Defog. Keep in mind that now that Ultra Sun and Moon have been released on Showdown, you can actually get the Move Tutor moves from the games. So I noticed that Noivern gets Defog, which is actually illegal in Sun and Moon. So Noivern would not actually be able to get Defog yet. It doesn't learn it through level up, and it can't get it in Gen 6 through Move Tutor, and it can only get it in Ultra Sun and Moon with a Move Tutor, whereas we are still playing with Sun and Moon rules. This is going to get very challenging throughout the rest of the season to figure out what's a Move Tutor move in Ultra Sun and Moon, and what isn't, and what we're allowed to bring and what we're not allowed to bring. I think I've done a good job. I'm going to double check before we play our match to see if everything's good, but I think I've done a good job. Yeah, so Magic's 4x weaknesses. He has a 4x weakness in Noivern to Ice and in Heatran to Ground. And his priority, he has Mew with Fake Out and Vacuum Wave, Sylveon with Quick Attack, Meloetta with Quick Attack, Donphan with Ice Shard, Girder with Mach Punch, and Shaman with Quick Attack. So let's talk about our team really quickly here. We're bringing kind of a semi-bulky offensive team this week. It's hard to describe what it is to counter his team, because his team, looking at it on paper, doesn't actually have a ton of a ton of offense or a ton of bulk. Like, it's sort of in the middle of both. And so it was really hard to plan for, because it's like, well, he could bring like choice spec Sylveon, but then like Mimikyu bodies it, but then he could bring like defensive Sylveon, and then I have nothing. So anyways, that's the idea. But we're starting off with Kurama, our Kieran Black here. We're bringing a semi-defensive one. I was playing around with a specially defensive Kieran Black to take on like the Meloetta really well, and just like tank hyper voices, like the Aria Meloetta, and just like tank hyper voices and stuff. I don't know why I was running sub with that, but we're running sub to deal with the other things that can't go behind our sub. The only things that he has that can go behind our sub are Infiltrator, Noivern potentially, Hyper Voice, Sylveon, Hyper Voice, Meloetta, and everything else gets walled by a substitute. So we're running Sub, Roost, Earth Power, Ice Beam. Combination of Ground and Ice bodies his team, as seen in his 4x weaknesses in Noivern to Ice and Heatran to Ground. He doesn't have a switch in to both, bar Araquanid. Araquanid is the only thing that he has that resists both of those, and if he's bringing in Araquanid on Kieran Black, then I'm in danger anyways, so I should go into my physical wall, which we'll get into in a second here. But we're running Timid with enough speed to outpace Meloetta Aria form by 1 point if he's running max speed. I could see him bringing Choice, Scarf, Meloetta Aria against me, actually, which kind of just 6-0s me, so that's an issue. Max special attack, and we put the rest into HP because it's our next highest defensive stat, and we're not running any attack moves. This does also leave us at an odd value of HP, potentially for his Stealth Rocks. So we will not be dying to 4 Stealth Rocks. Okay, so that's the idea. Next up is our physically defensive Crobat with Black Sludge. We're running Infiltrator because there's really no point in bringing Inner Focus. The only thing he could flinch me with potentially is a Fake Out from Mew, I think, or like a Dark Pulse from Heatran. He's been known to bring Dark Pulse and Dragon Pulse on Heatran, I will point that out. Potentially, I'm the person who has the most knowledge of Magic's team, just because I watch every single replay when I'm updating the doc for this league. So I know the kind of sets he's brought, and I can kind of extrapolate from there what he's going to bring against me, essentially. Oh, I never went over that. Sorry. I expect him to bring Mew, Sylveon, Meloetta, Donphan, Heatran, Shaven, or MagicBlades. 6 of those 7, which is actually like not limiting him very much, because I don't think that Noivern has a very good matchup. I don't think, because I have 2 ice types, 2 really powerful ice types that Noivern can't handle very well. I don't think that Girder has a very good matchup, because of things like Suicune, and because of things like Crocodile Intimidate. I don't think Electros has a fantastic matchup, because I have 2 ground types. I don't think that Araquanid has that fantastic of a matchup, although I've built sort of ignoring Araquanid for the most part. I think Suicune hard walls Araquanid, and he'd be really scared of that, so that's the deal. Because Suicune, in general, has a really good matchup against his team, except against Shaman, which I'm really scared of Shaman, so that's why I'm not bringing Suicune. But yeah, Suicune, I believe, has a really good matchup against his team. So we're bringing physically defensive Crobat here. Max defense Impish, 248 HP because that's what we needed for an odd value, and then 8 in attack just to boost our U-turn a little bit. We're running Defog to get rid of Stealth Rocks, potentially Toxic Spikes as well. I don't have a Poison type on my team, bar Crobat, so I can't, and Crobat's above the ground, so I can't suck up Toxic Spikes like he could potentially with his own Mega Beedrill. And I'm also relatively weak to Stealth Rocks with Kieran Black, so I want to get rid of those. We're running Roost because we're defensive and we can just like sit on something and Roost stall them. U-turn just for some good momentum if he's like switching out because I wall something, and Toxic to start wearing things down. It's worthy to note that he has, I believe, 3 clerics. I'm not entirely sure on that one actually, because I don't know if Shaman gets Heal Bell or not. I know it gets Healing Wish, and I know it basically is its own cleric because it has Natural Cure when it switches out. Sylveon's a Wish Passer and a Heal Beller, and I believe Mew gets heal bell. Oh, you know what? Shaman probably gets aromatherapy. I'm just gonna say that Shaman gets aromatherapy and hope that I'm right, because I have like a relatively high knowledge of the game, but I'm not sure on that one. Next up is Thick. Our especially defensive Registeel this week. We're running Stealth Rocks, Toxic, Flash Cannon, and Arrest. Stealth Rocks are like pretty decent against this team. Beedrill's weak, Noivern's weak, Araquanid's weak. Toxic is there to wear things down again. Flash Cannon hits the Sylveon amazingly well. This is my switch into Sylveon regardless, but Flash Cannon hits that thing well if he's staying in. Flash Cannon hits... Pardon me. Flash Cannon hits a lot of this stuff on his team really well, except for Heatran and Electros. And we're not staying in on Donphin anyways, because that thing will body me with an Earthquake. Rest is there for reliable recovery. You'll notice we're running Clear Body over Light Metal this week. Clear Body, this is very intentional. I'm running Clear Body because I know that Magic runs Focus Blast and he hits his Focus Blasts, and I don't want to get Spadef dropped. It's also there for the Meloetta, because Meloetta Aria has Serene Grace. Actually, sorry, Meloetta in general has Serene Grace, and... No, Shaman Sky has Serene Grace. Yeah, Meloetta Aria has Serene Grace, and Meloetta has Serene Grace, and I don't want to get my stats lowered by Meloetta, potentially like shadowballing me down even though I'm calm, max Spadef. Yeah, so we're calm, max Spadef, max HP, 4 in special attack, because Flash Cannon can hit a little bit harder, and that's pretty much Registeel. Got Harry again this week, our Piloswine with Thick Fat for the Heatran, fire moves, potentially Noivern, Flamethrower, things like that. If he thinks he can leave Noivern in on me and he can Flamethrower me, he's not going to do much damage to me. Ice Shard, Earthquake, Icicle Crash, Rock Slide. We don't need to run Stealth Rocks because Registeel has Stealth Rocks, so we're running 4 attacking moves. Ice Shard is there for priority. It also pretty much destroys the Noivern's life. It also pretty much destroys the Beedrill's life. The main things that I'm worried about outspeeding us. Earthquake is really good against his team because he has 2 immunities. He has Noivern and Electros that are immunities. But Noivern I body with Ice Shard, and Electros I body with Icicle Crash. Sorry about that. Icicle Crash does a lot of damage to his Mons bar Araquanid, which is his only ice resist outside of Heatran, but again we have Earthquake for Heatran. And Rock Slide is there to take on the Beedrill on a switch, to take on the Araquanid 1v1, hopefully. Banded Araquanid with Liquidation kind of just bodies Piloswine, but that's the thing. Standard EV spread with max HP, max attack, Adamant, foreign special defense because his specially defensive Mons are a threat, and we want to take those hits a tiny bit better. Next up is Sheet, our Mimikyu. We're bringing... I wouldn't call this a meme set. I've been horrible about meme sets in this league, and it's reflected in my score in the league right now. But we're bringing a physically offensive Normalium Z Splash set, which, if you don't know, Z Splash gives you a +3 attack boost. So it's better than a Swords Dance, except you can only use it once. That's kind of the issue here, but in my mind, if I'm in on Mimikyu and I can click Z Splash, then I win, almost, or I win most of the time. So Z Splash, Play Rough, Shadow Sneak, Shadow Claw. Essentially we're just running Splash in place of Swords Dance this week. The +3 boost is very helpful because I don't think that I can get up to +4 against his team. I also don't think that Magic's a bad enough player to let me get up to +4 against him. But there's nothing he can do about me clicking Z Splash in the front of anything realistically with Disguise. Even max HP, I know he's not going to be running max HP Beedrill, but he can afford, he will be running HP because he can speed creep a lot of the stuff on my team with his Beedrill because it outspeeds everything. So in my mind he's running, just for the calculator's purposes, max HP Beedrill, excuse me, takes up to 97 from a +3 Shadow Sneak. So as long as we get some chip off or we have rocks up, then that thing's dying to a +3 Shadow Sneak. Play Rough hits everything on his team. The only thing that's immune to Shadow Claw though is Meloetta. But +3 player off is going to be doing more than Shadow Claw unless we crit the Shadow Claw. It is a high crit move, high critical move. I'm still not certain on whether that means it's 2 out of 16 instead of 1 out of 16, or 3 out of 16, or 4 out of 16. I think I can be confident in saying that it's between 2 to 4 out of 16, because that's like 2 to 16 is 1 out of 8, like 16% to 25% critical instead of, what is it, 4.5, something like that? 8% instead of 8%. It's 6%, 16% to 25% instead of 8%. Again, I'm fuzzy on the math, but that's Mimikyu. We're running 208 Jolly to outpace. What are we outpacing? We're outpacing Meloetta Aria again. Player off is the only thing to hit that with, unfortunately, but a +3. If this thing's not taking a +3 player off, especially if he's in Pirouette, he can't really touch us. Because we're Ghost type, and I think we'll get even harder bodied by a player off because it changes from normal Psychic to normal Fighting. Max attack 48 into special defense because he's got special threats that I'm worried about taking a lot of damage from. It's also it's actually our highest stat total, so that's a thing. Last up is Monkey Boy, our Infernape. We're running Choice Band Iron Fist this week. When I was looking over his team, I'm like, wow, Infernape embodies that. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry for the poor production quality this week. I'm feeling like kind of under the weather, and I just spent all day yesterday playing Ultra Sun and Moon, so I'm not really awake yet, or something's not clicking yet, but that's the idea. So Infernape, got U-turn, Flare Blitz, Close Combat, and Thunder Punch. U-turn's there for good momentum. It's also our way to hit the Mew really hard. It's also our way to hit the Meloetta really hard. Yeah, Flare Blitz destroys his team. He doesn't really have a switch into Flare Blitz bar Flash Fire Heatran, which by the way is the only legal ability for it. But Flare Blitz, yeah, so if Heatran's to switch into a Banded Flare Blitz, like if I'm in on Shaman, and he's going to switch into Heatran, then I just close combat that thing, and a Banded Close Combat is going to kill that, so that's a thing. Physically defensive Donphan takes these moves relatively well, which is what I have Kieran Black there for. Thunder Punch is there pretty much only for the Araquanid. I was having a really hard time coming up with a fourth move for Infernape. Because a lot of the moves I wanted to run required him to knock off my Choice Band, and I just don't think that it's worth him knocking off my Choice Band because it does so much damage to him to let me run like Taunt in that last slot, or like Will-O-Wisp or something. So we're rocking the Thunder Punch to hit the Araquanid. It's pretty much the only thing I have to deal with Araquanid outside of Piloswine Rock Slide. I don't even think we outspeed with Piloswine, do we? Potentially. If he's not running speed on Araquanid, we actually do outspeed him with Piloswine and we can get the Rock Slide flinches. But, yeah. So we're running Jolly 192. This outspeeds Mew into Shaman, his base 100s. Unless he's running Scarf on one of them, I think he could potentially run Scarf Shaman. But then again, Scarf Shaman has to lock itself into Psychic. Oh, that's a problem. I didn't plan around that. But, you know what, we're going to wing it. He could potentially lock himself into Psychic to deal with Crobat and Infernape, which is actually a big issue. Looking at my team. Well, Registeel kind of hard walls Shaman in the first place. He has around like HP Fire to deal with Registeel, so we're good. We're good. Max attack 64 in HP because that was our next highest defense stat. Even though I'm really worried about like a Poison Jab from Beedrill doing a ton of damage. Anyways, that's the team. Sort of laid back this week with the Teambuilder. I'm really sorry about that, guys, but I don't know. I'm like half motivated for this match. I know that Magic's gonna smash me too, which is the unfortunate part because I've been playing like garbage this entire season for this league. Somehow managed to pull 2 wins out of nowhere. I don't even understand that. Like my match against Johnny last week was just so disheartening. It's so disheartening. But either way, our win cons this week are Banded Infernape punching holes, Pure and Black punching holes, Registeel walling his special Spit F mons, Crobat walling his physical mons, Piloswine punching holes, and then Mimikyu setting up and winning. That's kind of the idea. We're kind of low on win cons. I found that he actually had a relatively decent matchup against a lot of things on my team. Specifically Mega Absol, which has actually come to every single match. I believe Infernape and Mega Absol are the only things I have that have come to every single match, but Mega Absol's not coming this week because of Girder, because of Beedrill, because of Sylveon, and because of Meloetta Pirouette, and because of Araquanid. So with 5 different checks on his team for my Mega Absol, that leads me to believe that I'm not going to get to bring Mega Absol against him. I don't see a reason to bring Mega Absol against him because I can't run it Scarfed to outspeed like Meloetta Pirouette. I can't do enough damage to Sylveon because I don't get, like, the best move I can hit the Sylveon with is like a +2 Iron Tail or something, and I'd be very scared of a 75% accurate move missing. So that's the deal. I'm actually just gonna stop this right here because I've already gone for longer than I wanted to. So I will see you guys for the match.